Welcome back, everybody, and my name is Antelara, as you already know. So I'm just going to take a short break from the analysis and focus on objective practice questions for literature in English 2026. So basically, we're just going to start, and I need you to know that you have to have a good knowledge of your literary terms, and you need to have, or you need to know, or you need to have mastered the art of answering unseen questions on unseen prose and unseen poetry, because there's no way you're going to see unseen passage, you're going to see unseen poem, and 5 questions will be set from each of the unseen. So we have 10 questions, and we have 20 questions on the literary terms, right? So the remaining 20 questions is solely based on William Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra. I want to believe that by now you all have read, you've digested, and you've done a lot of contextual questions. So basically, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be bringing out a short extract from the play, and they're going to ask you questions, 5 questions from each of the extract that has been drawn, and it could be from anywhere, it could be from any scene. So you need to have a good knowledge of it. I would advise that you go online and read the summary of Antony and Cleopatra, so you just have an idea of what is happening in each scene. So when you come across some names, you know that okay, this particular scene is talking about this particular aspect. All right, so 50 questions. If you're not going to, if we will not be able to because of the length, if you're not going to finish it, we are definitely going to break it and finish it up. But there are 50 questions in all here. And if you find this useful and you feel that I should come up with another round of 50 questions, then do let me know in the comment section. So without further ado, let's begin. Which of the following is common to all forms of literature? Which of the following is common to all forms of literature? Language, chorus, action, and narrator. And our answer is language. Our answer is language. Language, because whatever you're going to do, if it's prose, if it's poetry, if it's drama, basically it's going to be written in language. All right. And of course, literature, what we are studying is literature in English. There are other countries of the world that do not even have, they're not speaking English. Okay, so their own literature to be written in that language. So for us to grasp, it has to be written in a specific language, and of course, it has to be language that we understand. Else, their message would be lost. Question 2: the 3 major forms of literature are tragedy, comedy, tragicomedy; poetry, drama, folktale; drama, lyrics, prose fiction; and poetry, drama, and prose. And our answer is poetry, drama, and prose. Question 3: beauty in poetry depends mainly on expression and rhythm, length and theme, vowels and consonants, mood and verse form. And our answer is expression and rhythm. The beauty, if you're going to like, or if you're going to find a particular work of art or work of literature interesting, it is how the person has expressed himself or herself. I'm sure that you've picked a novel or you picked a poem before, and then you probably read, maybe you've struggled to read the first chapter and you just drop it, or you struggle to read the first thing and then you just drop it. Why? Because it's not interesting. Okay, and so that means that you can say that the author or the playwright had not expressed themselves in a way that will carry everybody along. There are some people that the language, the kind of language that they use is more than the layman IQ. So when you take it you won't find it interesting because the language is higher than you, right? So beauty basically has to do with expression and rhythm, how it is flowing, how it is flowing. Okay, so our answer is A. Now read the extract below and answer this question. Was but the towering earth was tired of sitting in one position. She moved suddenly, and the houses crumbled. The mountains heaved horribly, and the work of a million years was lost. Question 4. The predominant figure of speech in the above extract is oxymoron, metaphor, simile, personification. Oxymoron, metaphor, simile, personification. Now let's go back to the extract, and let's Look at it. The towering earth was tired. This is human attributes of sitting in one position. So of course, you know, she moved. We're talking about earth here. Suddenly, and the houses crumbled. The mountain heaved. This is human action. And the work of a million years was lost. So basically, our answer is personification. Question 5. The subject matter of the above extract is earthquake, storm, sea waves, house movement. Earthquake, storm, sea wave, house movement. And our answer is earthquake. Because if you go back to it, the towering earth was tired of sitting in one place. That means that it's not going to be flat as it is. She moved. God forbid, if the earth should move, that means that people are going to die, right? Suddenly, and the houses crumble because it moved. The houses are in one place because the earth is immovable, right? And question 6, the image depicted in the extract is one of destruction, merriment, happiness, and admiration. And our answer is destruction. Question 7, the birds fly high over the hills beyond the cornfields. The poetic device used in the above extract is assonance, alliteration, metaphor, metonymy. Assonance, alliteration, metaphor, metonymy. So now let's go back to the extract. The birds fly high over. So let's okay, high, okay, over the hills beyond the cornfields. Okay, so here our best option is our right option is assonance. Assonance, repetition of vowel sound between the line of a poem. All right, so we continue. A poem written or rendered in praise of a person or thing is called a lyric, an ode, an elegy, a panegyric. A poem written in praise of a person or thing is called a lyric, an ode, an elegy, a panegyric. And our answer is an ode. This praises a person or thing. Okay. If we don't have this thing here, then it will be a panegyric. And panegyric in Yoruba is oriki. And I'm sure that almost all languages or every dialect, have this particular oriki. I'm sure that you've watched someone being praised before, and then the person's head is just getting swollen, and the person is crying, or the person is spraying all the money. You understand? Okay. When you start to call the person by the name of the father, from the house, and then that's it. But an ode will always praise whatever. Now an ode, it really doesn't matter whether it really doesn't matter your own disposition to that particular thing. For some of us that consider elephants destructive animal, destructive in nature, if an ode picks an elephant and and praise that elephant, starting from the ears, the flapping ears to the feet, you are going to wish that you are an elephant. Like, I'm just saying that, being sarcastic here. That's the power of an ode. The basic elements of drama are character, plot, episode, dialogue, chorus, plot, character, action, and setting, and we have character, monologue, and plot. And of course, when we're talking about elements, that means the things that makes up drama. When we're talking about elements, we are talking about things that makes up drama. And of course, character, plot, and episode, dialogue, chorus, and plot. They will have character, action, and setting. For a drama to be effective or to take place, there must be characters that will act it out, that will act out the plot. There must be action. The character will perform an action, and they will perform that action in a particular place. That makes up drama. So our right answer is C. Okay, the choice of appropriate words to convey the thought of an author is called idiomatic language, setting, figure of speech, diction. When we talk about choice of appropriate words, we're talking about diction. What diction? What language can I use? How can I write this that would reach the target audience? Do you understand? That's why you pick some poems and you say, I don't understand what this person has just written here. Do you get? And you read some poems and you find it very, very interesting. Well, the poet has decided to reach a wider audience through his choice of words. So our answer is diction. Then the state of mind of a poet can be described as style, mode, setting, theme. The state of mind. When I'm talking about state of mind here, that is the 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 condition of the mind. Okay, and that means that when you are reading that poem, you also feel the same way that this particular poet felt, okay, whilst writing the poem. And our right answer is mood. Our right answer is mood. Question 12. Which of the following is a likely source of traditional oral poetry? Theatre, fiction, books, songs. Which of the following is a likely source of traditional oral poetry? Theatre, fiction, books, songs. And our right answer is songs. Songs. We are talking about oral here. Oral. And oral means words, words of mouth, right? So in all of this is what that has to do with oral poetry. Okay. Then before the advent of civilization, where we before the advent of writing materials and all, we pass our message across through words, songs, and all. So before they started writing this down, it was first in words, in song. Okay, in a novel, the antagonist is a fully developed character, a flat character, the main female character, the arch rival of the hero. And of course, you know that antagonist is someone that is always looking for the downfall of the protagonist, and that is what moves the story forward. The protagonist will always have one enemy that will always seek for his downfall, and they keep doing that, till the antagonist is defeated, or whether the antagonist eventually defeated the protagonist. But because there is an antagonist, the protagonist, the main character, would always be at loggerhead, okay, with him or her. Okay, read the extract below and answer this question. The pattering rain was kicking up little explosions of dust in the glade. He heard the faint whisper of the stream as it stole across the land and disappeared into the bush. The figure of speech underlined in line 1 is, we have the pattering. The pattering rain was kicking up little explosion of dust. The figure of speech underlined in line 1 is assonance, consonance, onomatopoeia, alliteration, and our answer is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia in the sense that onomatopoeia has to do with sound. All right, when a sound suggests its meaning. So we already know that when you have the pattern, you already know, especially when you have you are in the room, you are in the house, and then all the windows, are locked, you don't have access outside. The first thing, even before you hear the sound of the rain, the first thing that you hear is the beating of the rain on top of the roof, and that is pattering, right? So you say, oh, rain is falling, oh, yeah, 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 go and bring in the clothes, go and do this, go and do, right? That pattering. So you say the pattering. So that is the sound that particular act are given is onomatopoeia. In a play, a long speech by a single character in the presence of other characters is called A. Soliloquy, B. Monologue, C. Aside, D. Prologue. Now our right answer is a monologue. Okay, a monologue. Okay, some students get it mixed up when they say it's a monologue, but monologue should be just one character on stage. Okay, no. Okay, you can have a monologue while other characters are still on stage. Have long lines to read before the other character. Okay, there's some lines that are as long as you saying it for like 2 minutes. Okay, that is an example of monologue. A play that is full of exaggerated ridicule and laughter is called, this one we already know this one, okay, is fast. That's basically why it's created, just for you to just forget your stress, and your sorrows momentarily, right? So we move. Question 17. Pick the odd item from the list below. Tragedy, comedy, epilogue, tragicomedy. And we know that all of these are types of drama except epilogue. Epilogue also has to do with drama, yeah, but it's not a type of drama. So our answer is epilogue. A group of actors in a play is called characters, cast, chorus, prompters. And our answer is, I'm not going to be dwelling on some questions because of course I want to believe that we know it, right? A novel is usually written in prose form. Okay, when you have verse, then that means you have poetry. Okay, when you have scenes, you have drama, that's play. Of course, stanzas too has to do with poems, right? What distinguishes a novel from a play is characters, settings, narration, and theme. And of course, our right answer is narration. I'm sure that we've all read plays and novels, and we know how both are being narrated. Okay, so we move. Okay, so we have on sim poetry here. Like I said, you need to be able to master the art of unseen poetry. Because they're going to set 5 questions from unseen poetry and 5 questions on unseen prose, unseen passage. She dwelt among the untrodden ways, besides the springs of love, a maid whom there was none to praise, and very few to love, a violent but a mossy stone, half hidden from the eye, fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. She lived unknown, and few could know when Lucy ceased to be, but she is in her grave, and oh, the difference to me. Okay, so this is just talking about a life that is unfulfilled. Nobody knows her, nobody sees her. So even her death, you know, is just went unnoticed. So the above extract is an epic, a ballad, an ode, an elegy. Elegy has to deal with death. Elegy, dirge, dirge, both has to do with death. And so we're talking about just about talking about someone that lived life and died, right? And so our right answer is an elegy. And the predominant feeling in the above extract is that of excitement, loss, hope, anxiety. And of course, the feeling is the feeling of loss. The words underlined are examples of simile, euphemism, personification, synecdoche. So the word underlined, I don't know, I can't remember if I underlined it. The word underlined is fair as the star, and that's an example of simile. One outstanding attribute of the extract is simplicity of language, the climax, the antithesis, and the sarcasm. And of course, it is one attribute, outstanding attribute of the extract is in its simplicity of language, climax, antithesis, sarcasm. And of course, our answer is sarcasm, because if you go over the lines again, it's basically saying it in a mocking way. She dwelt among the untrodden ways. So that's where she lives. She lives where nobody stays, right? And beside the springs of Dove, a maid whom there were none to praise. Okay, a maid is supposed to be beautiful, but there was none to praise her, right? And a very few to love. Um, a violence by a mossy stone, half hidden from the eye, fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. So she can only be considered fair because she's the only one shining. Okay, she's the only one there. If there are other people, that means that she's actually not fair, right? She lived unknown. Nobody, knows her, and few could know when Lucy. So because nobody knows her, so only few knew about her demise. Okay, but she is in her grave, and oh, the difference to me, like, what's the difference? Whether you are dead or you are alive, nobody knows you. Okay, so it's a sarcasm. All right, then the expression cease to be means died. Okay, and of course it's an euphemism. Okay, that means died. The theme of the poem is death. In which of the following genre is the term soliloquy generally used? Novel, drama, epic, poetry? And our answer is drama. I'm sure that at one point in one's life, I'm just going to use this as an example. I'm sure that at one point in your life, you have soliloquized before. Have you ever had to lose something or misplace something, and in a bid to keep it? Oh, I want to keep this thing safe. Oh. Now, the time when you when you needed it the most, you now go there, to pick it, and you realize that, oh, it's not there anymore. You're like, you now start to talk to yourself. But put it here now. No, it was here. No, I'm sure you've done this at one point in your life. Like, you just speak your thought aloud, right? Like, no, it was here now, Abi. No, it cannot. So when now bringing it to drama now, when an actor on stage is speaking his or her thought out, because we as the audience, we are not witches and wizards, so we cannot read the actor's mind. If it's a play and we are watching a movie, they would there's going to be like a voiceover that would tell us what is going on in the actor's mind. Yeah, but if it's in a on stage, right? If it's on stage, then that means that the actor needs to talk aloud so that the audience will hear. And so that's when the actor speaks his or her thoughts out. So the audience will know that, okay, this is what is going on, or this is what this person is thinking about. So when you see such, it's soliloquy. And when you are doing that, when you find yourself doing that one day, okay, you just tell yourself that, oh, you just soliloquized. All right. So let's continue. In what type of play would the playwright introduce a comic to relieve tension already built up? Farce, comedy, opera, and tragedy? And of course, our answer is tragedy. Our answer is tragedy. Tragedy in the sense that, just imagine that you're watching a stage performance and it's a tragedy, or you're watching a movie and it's a tragedy, and your heart is, especially some people that watches film as though it's as though it's real, forgetting that, oh, it's not real. So their heart will be pumping, digging. You understand? And so all of a sudden there is an introduction of a comedy. You're folding it already. You're not going to read it, put it there. Okay, so there is a quick introduction of a comic scene that would bring down the tension. Do you understand? Because some people, they might be hyper, what's the word, hypertensive. They might be hypertensive so much that when that tension is heightened to a large or to a high extent, they tend to go from there. You don't want people to watch your film and die, right? So that's why we have introduction of a comic relief to relieve the tension in the play. When a statement is made on stage to the hearing of only the audience, it is called a prologue, a soliloquy, an aside, a diatribe. You already know what a prologue is, right? I'm sure that for most of you that read plays and novels, you know that it's like a background story, okay, before the main story begins. A soliloquy, I just said it, right? An aside is our answer. Aside, I'm sure that you've watched a performance where, or let me just say that an aside is when there are more than one actor on stage, and then you have one actor talking to another actor, and then all of a sudden the other actor faces the audience and says something. Now the audience hears that and they laugh, right? But the fact that the audience heard it does not mean that the other actor would have, because it is not meant for the other actor, it is meant for the audience. Let me give a scenario. So let's say that there are two actors. Let's say I and a particular actor, we're on stage, and then I greet the other actor and I say, "Oh, Damilola, you look very, very beautiful. In fact, you and Miss World, you are competing in beauty." And then we see Damilola laughing and blushing, right? And then I, that just finished saying that to Damilola, I face the audience and I say, she thinks I'm telling her the truth. The audience find that funny, they laugh. Okay? Or I say to the audience, she doesn't know I'm about to kill her, right? Now, the audience have gotten the message, but that message is not meant for Damilola. It is meant for the audience. So the audience will know the intention of that actor. Do you understand? Our answer is an aside. A line or a group of lines repeated in the course of the poem is called chorus, refrain, repetition, prologue, and our answer is refrain. When you have a particular line, it could be one line or two lines, okay, being repeated after each stanza, it is a refrain. Then we have a piece of writing which teaches moral is serious, didactic, playful, analytical, and our answer is didactic. Go to William Shakespeare. So, like I said, I have compiled this question as though um it is the one you're going to be writing, okay, in this year's examination. So question 31 to 50 is taken from Antony and Cleopatra, and I want to believe that by now you have read Antony and Cleopatra. All right, so let's begin. Nay, but this dotage of our generals overflows the measure. Those his goodly eyes that over the files and muster of the war have glowed like plated mass, now bend, not turn the office and devotion of their view upon a turning front. His captain's heart, which in the scuffles of great fight had burst the buckles of his breast, renege all temper, and is become the bellows and the fan to cool a gypsy's lust. Look where they come. Take but good note, and you shall see in him the triple pillar of the world transformed into a trumpet full. So, of course, this is Act 1, Scene 1, and this is basically Antony's men, okay, that are also soldiers, right? Antony is a very strong and wealthy warrior. So these ones, they are concerned that their general is now someone that is very powerful, and that is feared amongst all. He's now reduced to mere, because of a prostitute. They consider Cleopatra as a prostitute. That's why we have this trumpet full. Okay, like he's now devoted, he's now very, very mushy and very distant because of the love that he has for this trumpets, okay, Cleopatra, okay, and they are worried about this intense love that he has for Cleopatra. So let's go to the questions. We have 5 questions on that this. Now, who is the speaker? The speaker is Philostrates. The general referred to in the passage is, of course, we already established that it is Antony. The speaker's attitude towards the general is one of criticism, like, why you that we are always looking up to, blah blah blah, and of course the turning front mentioned in the passage refers to Cleopatra. Okay, they were calling her different names. Okay, and of course the passage highlights the theme of love versus love versus duty. Because how can a whole general just reduce himself to because of love? And you're not even loving someone that they consider worthy because they feel that Cleopatra is really not worthy of their general's love. Okay, and you think that that's not even the first wife. Antony has a wife that is equally strong, that matches Antony's energy. So him coming to Cleopatra is really getting on their nerves, and they called him lots. They called her a lot of names, right? So we move to the next. Now read this extract and answer the questions from 36 to 40. Speaker X, I am sick and sullen. Speaker Y, I am sorry to give breathing to my purpose. Speaker X, help me away, dear Chairman. I shall fall. It cannot be thus long. The sight of nature will not sustain it. Speaker Y, now, my dearest queen. Speaker X, pray, you stand farther from me. Speaker Y, what's the matter? Speaker X, I know by that same eye there's some good news. What? Says the married woman you may go? Speaker X is Cleopatra, and of course, Speaker Y is Antony. This is the scene where she had asked Charmaine to go and find out what's up with Antony, and that if Antony is happy, she should tell Antony that she's sad, and if Antony is sad, you should tell Antony that she's happy. You understand? Just wanting to play on his emotion, and of course, this is after he had already known that Antony had received a message, okay, from a message to come back home. Speaker X behavior in this passage is dramatic. The purpose of Speaker X's behavior is to entertain others, manipulate Speaker Y, which is what I have talked about. Okay, and who else is present in the scene? Charmaine. This is the person she had asked to go there. Okay, so we have Charmaine. If it be love indeed, tell me how much. There is beggary in the love that can be reckoned. I'll set a bond how far to be beloved. Then must thou needs find out new heaven, new earth. News, my good lord, from whom? Great me, the sum. Nay, hear them, Antony. Fulva perchance is angry, or who knows if the scarce bearded Caesar have not sent his powerful mandate to you. Do this or this. Who speaks the line, if it be love indeed, tell me how much? So this particular passage is the part where Antony and Cleopatra are, talking about Antony's telling Cleopatra how much he loves her. So if it be love indeed, tell me how much. Now, who said that? Of course, we know that that's the point where Cleopatra is asking, how much do you love me? If you say that you love me indeed, okay. And of course, the statement, there's beggary in the love that can be reckoned, suggests that love must be tested, should be measured, cannot be quantified, is unreliable. And our answer is it cannot be reckoned, it cannot be quantified. The speaker's tone in the passage is, of course, playful. And of course, the message from Rome concerns a celebration, political matter, a marriage proposal, a journey, political matters. Okay, of course, about Antony coming home and his wife death. Then the passage reviews Cleopatra as humble, manipulative, indifferent, and obedient. And our answer is manipulative. And we move to the last extract. Let Rome in Tiber met and the wide arc of the range empire fall. Here is my space. Kingdoms are clay, our donkey earth alike fit beast as man. The nobleness of life is to do thus, when such a mutual pair and such a twin can do it. In which I bind, on pain of punishment, the world to wit will stand up careless. And of course, this one is Antony still saying, you see, Rome can crumble as fast. This is where my world is. My world is with you. My life is with you. You are the one I want. So of course we know that we've already established that it is Antony. The speaker's statement shows that he values love. Okay, and the tone of the passage is romantic. The speaker shows disregard for Roman duty, and the passage emphasizes the theme of love versus responsibility. You cannot read in fact, for 90% of white candidates, when you read Shakespeare's plays, you would do yourself a good one to go and read the modern day translation, because the English, you will just be fed up. You will not, and that's why most of them don't get to read it. And at the end of the day, they lose out almost 20 marks from the objectives. Imagine having 20 marks added to your overall score, right? It will boost you from a particular grade to a higher grade, right? So just take your time to read it and read the modern translation so that you understand what is going on in the play. All right, so till I come your way next time, bye.